Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Hodges. Joining me today, we've got a very special guest from South Bend, Indiana. We are talking to the ACC Swimmer of the Championships in 2021, Notre Dame sophomore, Jack Hoagland.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining me today, man. First of all, ACC Swimmer of the Championships. I mean, you went 3 for 3. You won the 500, the 1650, and the 400 IM. Can you take me through your championships and how you felt about your finals races?
Yeah, for sure. So in preparation for it, it really started last year. Coming out of the meet, getting second, and third, having a great teammate there who was pushing me along the way. My goal after being ACC Freshman of the Year was to be ACC Swimmer of the Meet. I didn't know when it was going to happen or if I was going to even be able to do it, given all the competition in the ACC and how deep it is. But that was a major goal I had focusing on this season. So coming in, like the season obviously was like totally out of balance, people everywhere, COVID, all of that. And so I knew that I really had to focus. At the beginning of the year, I moved into a single to make sure I was protecting myself and my teammates, making sure that I had the best chance of surviving throughout the entire season without having to take time off. And so as the season progressed, we trained harder and harder this year, like most teams did, dialing in more on details, focusing up more. And so going into the championships, I was really focused on what I was going to do within my races. So starting off with the 500 free the first night, I knew I had great competition with Ross Dant and Jack Walker in there. And so in prelims, I was right next to Jack Walker. I took it out, just felt smooth and easy with it, and then kind of powered through the last 100 to see if I could get top seed. It turned out Ross wanted to go fast, and so I had a little struggle there. But going into finals, I liked my position of where I was. I was right next to Ross. Jack Walker was right there. Eric Knowles was right there. And so I talked to my coach. I was like, what do I need to do? Where do I need to push it exactly? And based off of last year, I was out a little slow. So I knew I needed to be out quicker this year. And so I think I was out in about a 2:03 at the 250 mark, which was like a personal best for me. And I felt great. That next 100 to 150, I kind of got a little nervous and backed off a little because I didn't want to go out too hard and die at the end. And so I pulled back a little, and that's something I definitely need to work on to be able to get better. And so that last 100, Ross Dant pulled ahead of me. And so I got some laser vision on him. I saw him and I was like, I got to do everything I can here to push past him. And so that last 100, I turned it on, brought the legs in more, and I came out with a win, which I was very excited about. I threw my hands against the water. Not the time I wanted by any means. I want to be under 410 at NCs for sure. But I was very happy with where I was at that point. Going into the 4 IM, the mile is kind of the same thing. Prelims just be a little easier, see where I'm at, get some focus for the finals, and then know exactly where to push it at night. So for the 4 IM, I knew I needed to be out faster than last year with fly and backstroke. Breaststroke was a bit of a struggle. Didn't have that power I needed to, but freestyle was good coming home. And then with the mile, just felt smooth throughout the entire race. Went out with Ross, kept with him, and knew right about the 800, 900 mark, that's when I need to turn it on, get the legs in, get the tempo going. So with all that and the end result, I got the wins. I'm very, very happy with it, but not satisfied by any means.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about just the prep that went into this ACC meet, just the last couple months? You guys were able to get some racing in this spring, and then, obviously it's a weird season for resting, for tapering, because the training looks a lot different than in previous years. So what was that like leading into this conference championships?
So leading into the conference championships, I definitely relied a lot on my teammates and coaches. Every single day, we've been pushing each other harder and harder, getting on each other for the most simple things like breathing out of a wall, not kicking enough. And so going into that, everyone wanted to be focused on correcting each other and trying to help each other, because it's not just an individual sport, swimming. It's for the team. It's about the coaches doing the best you can. And so with that was obviously present in my mind of how am I going to help everybody else get better while I'm trying to get better myself. And so with COVID and everything, every team's had screw ups and mistakes, but Notre Dame especially has been pretty vigilant about it. We've done a very good job And so that's been nice. I've been having my teammates in practice every day be able to push me, be able to get faster with them. Going into the championships, it was just like the same thing, just focusing up with each other and making sure we're staying safe.
And you mentioned at the top of the podcast that last year you had a teammate pushing you in Zach Yeadon, and he's obviously transferred to Cal this year, and we talked to him about that on a previous podcast. But I'm wondering how that affected you, just in going into this year, knowing that he wouldn't be there to push you, and how you kind of transitioned and almost took his place in some of those events.
Yeah, so it was a shock definitely when Zach left. And I wish the best for him. He's doing great at Cal. I'm glad he's very happy. I was a little bit like distraught, and I had like meetings with my coaches about like, what am I going to do next year? Like not having like that person to push me, to like be in front of me, to like chase down. But thankfully, like people have stepped up into that place. One of my best friends, like Thatcher Scannell on the team, like every single day, he is on me in practice. He is right there with me. He is pushing me as hard as possible. So in that sense, it's been very nice to have that person right there to be able to push me really fast, because without that, I mean, it can be very troubling for a swimmer to get faster if there's no one in there to push you. So yeah, Zach leaving was kind of a shock, but like people have definitely stepped up and filled the place. And as for like him on this team, like I wish he could have been here. I wish like we could have like been doing like these amazing things in the ACC together, like 1-2 and all these events, but like definitely like happy with everything that's gone so far.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you guys are in a good place. It seems like you certainly made the most of this situation. You said it's hard to make gains as a swimmer if you don't have those people pushing you. I would take it a step up and say it is the hardest if you swim the events that you swim, which are long and grueling battles of races. What's appealing to you about these distant workouts and these distance races?
So my coach, Aaron Bell, gives the absolute best workouts. I mean, every day after practice, it's a struggle to get through the end of the set, right when we're pushing like the hardest. And so just like the motivation of my teammates and like knowing where I want to be at the end of the season and having those goals in mind just like keeps me from like slowing down within practice. It's just like a motivator to keep me going for sure.
Yeah. And how big of a motivation has it been to see the American records in both the 500 and 1650 go down these past 2 seasons?
It's been huge. Seeing those guys drop those incredibly fast times just makes me want to work harder every single day in practice to be able to hopefully one day get near those times or even get those times. I mean, it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to be more than I've ever done, but like, I'm just excited to see where my potential can take me throughout these next 2 to 3 years. Keep training, working on details, getting better, and seeing where I can go.
And then, finally, sharpening up for NCAAs, which is just a couple weeks away now. How do you fine tune and prepare coming off of this successful ACC performance?
ACCs was definitely. I wasn't like satisfied with my ACCs. Like I was happy with it, like to see where I was. But there were just so many things within my races that I need to fix, which I'm very happy that I can go those times with all of these problems within my races, because that just shows there's room for time drops. So like I need to focus on like breathing in and out of the turns. That is one of my worst things that I do, is like I can't just like keep my head down. I slow myself down. So if I'm able to fix that and keep working on that, I know I'm going to get a lot faster with that. Kicking more, making sure that I'm keeping my head down on the first stroke if I am, flipping into the turns as quick as possible, getting those feet over, little things like that. I know they're going to add up to huge amounts for sure.
Well, Jack, I really appreciate you dropping in and taking the time to chat with us for a little bit today. Any parting thoughts before we sign off?
I think that's about it. I'm just very appreciative that I finally got an interview with you for sure.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.